Man, there's the unsolved cases and the psychopaths that are still, the ones that don't get caught are always the ones, because they're the ones in power. They're the ones that climb the ladder and are really good at getting away with stuff. And they're the ones that, and they're probably ones we're like looking up to.
The most interesting, yeah. But that's why we won't find them.
Nah, if they're good at what they're doing, then they'll stay hidden for sure. I mean, I was always big into like who was Jack the Ripper back in the day, and was he related to other crimes and stuff. So, I can go into it for a long time, but I got my thoughts on everything, man. It's funny, man, that you have a whole page based off of that and everything. So I will forever be a follower.
And the fact that it blew up.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, you're coming up on
interest.
How does it feel? How's it feel having a page doing well and successful? Like, the grind in the beginning and stuff. Like, how's it feel?
Yeah, man, it was so weird because I was writing a book at the same time. I had 9 to 5 jobs. It was like in ad sales. I just got married as well, and then I started a page. So it was like my schedule was fucking insane. It was like, get up early in the morning from 5 to like 9. I'd write, work the 9 to 5 then. After that in the evenings, then I'd be all on the social media. But like, hey guys, you have to, no one gives you anything these days. You have to work your ass off, man.
Me and Kevin,
that sounds like our schedule.
Me and Kevin are the same. Like I got 3 kids, 2 babies. Like my 2 boys are 1.5 years and 6 months. I manage a store. I'm up every day at 4 a.m. I'm at work opening the store at 5 a.m. Kev works 70 hours between 2 jobs a week, So
5 a.m. to
and then at the same,
11 o'clock.
We're the same as you at night, grinding. I'm right here recording. He's at his house recording, editing music videos, So we know how it is, man. That grind is what, making that page and having that success on that page is what you work for, bro. So that's awesome,
100%. And you know what it is? It's that dopamine rush when something lands. Alan, I was looking at you had a video on Instagram, man, where you were telling, like, I think other kind of maybe music creators coming up that, just posting a video and thinking it's going to blow up. That ain't going to do shit. You have to be putting in the absolute work. And the thing is about your videos, they're so well done. I can only imagine the hours, I don't know hours, but the amount of time it must take to do them videos and to edit it in such. That's all Kevin, is it?
Yeah, he's the video guy. I mean, I can cut together a basic video for my story or a basic post, but he does 99% of the video work. So. And he's
Kev, what's it taking, Kev, for a video then? How long? What's the hours going into one of them videos?
World's Gonna End? I'd say
full music video.
I've become pretty efficient at making the video. So World's Gonna End was like, in total time of working from start to finish, I'd say it was a good 8-hour shift. 8 hours.
That's a lot of hours,
so,
man. That's a lot of hours
for me. Like
sitting on your phone, but luckily he's able to multitask.
And the 8 hours is spread out, like, because I'm at work when I'm editing most of the time. So the 8 hours is spread out within like a week. Yeah. So it's not 8 hours full shift, but
you got
it's a lot of hours. I mean, think of 8 hours because I'm doing it on my phone. So think of 8 hours just staring at a little iPhone 11. And then
stop. You're not doing that on your phone. You're not able to get that content out on the phone.
He has multiple apps, you know what I mean, that he goes through, but he's doing it all on his phone.
Yeah, so like most people would learn like Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Premiere and then start editing. But I work so many hours that I have to be mobile. I have to do it while I'm on the go. So the phone, I just found a bunch of video apps and I take the videos on a real camera, a Nikon D780. So it's a pretty good camera. And then we have an Insta360.
Yeah, we both have Insta360 cameras. You're on one. We're on one right now. So it's kind of curved. You can see the monitor's like right in front of it. It curves a little bit. So I got that. I don't even know anything about it. We just started messing with that. But
the video works on a decent setup, right? And then we have a gimbal and so forth. But then all the editing's on just an iPhone 11. All iPhone 11. So
grinding, man. Gotta use what you can, man.
And that's like, I know. You see the people that they'll blow up off of making songs on their phone. So why can't you just edit on your phone? You can do anything. It's a mobile computer, basically. So you just gotta know how to use your resources.
100%. And as well, I see that World's Gonna End and nearly up at 100,000 views now on YouTube. That's
I think
blowing up,
Google,
man.
Yeah, we run ads. We run Google ads.
yeah.
Like we run Instagram ads. Reaching real people, trying to reach real viewers, like real fans, and that's how we pull them in, man. And it's been grind one by one, bringing people in. That's what it's like.
Building that warm audience
and waiting, grinding until we get that video that really pops off, really big. So.
Yeah, it'll happen with you guys because number one, when you put in effort, you're ahead of the curve there as well. Again, talent. I absolutely love some of the songs. Pointless as well, and I kind of want to dig into that as well because I think the world is just getting more nihilistic and everything feels more pointless. But like tunes like that, and as well with the video content coming in, again, it's like and if you're going to put in the work, it's a recipe for success. I really believe that, especially when you come into it older in the game. I know you did as well. Well, I know Alan did. Kev, I don't know when you started. Were you a bit later in life coming into it?
He's younger than me. He's a lot younger than me. Go ahead.
I'm 25. Yeah. So he's 34.
You still got the years, man.
He's got, it's the power of youth on Kev's side, man. I'm a little bit older. But I'm a strong believer I had to go through the things that I had to go through in life until I got here to be able to sing about some of the stuff and rap about some of the stuff,
And I think we met at the right time when both of us were ready to really take our lives to that next level. So I think that's where like things just line up, and if the opportunity is there, you take advantage of it and roll with it. So that's what we've been doing since.
And that's part of reaching that point is like having an open mind. Talent, is great. You got to be willing to learn, man, and have an open mind. And I've learned a lot from him. I know he's learned a lot from me, man. So having him with me, too, is just like made things progress even further, Where I fall short, Kev picks it up, man, So.
And how did you meet then? I know you're both Philadelphia or Pennsylvania. Am I right with that?
Not too far from Philly. We're out kind of in the suburbs in Berks County. We both worked at Dunkin' Donuts, man. I worked there. He still works there. That's his other part-time job besides his main job. And I took a second job for a very short time. But it's funny. I'll tell you real quick, man. My girlfriend, she works there. Well, she worked there. She doesn't work there anymore. So she knew him first. She comes home from work one day and she's like, hey, I had just started making music maybe like 2 months before this. She's like, hey, there's this guy at work, and he makes beats. His name's Kevin. Why don't you message him and see if you guys kind of link up, right? So I messaged him, man. I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, I'm kind of new at making music because I was at a point in my music, man. I didn't know what I really wanted to do. I didn't sound anywhere near what I sound like now either. I grounded. This is 2 years ago,
Yeah.
And I just didn't know what I was going to do. So I sent him a message, clickety-click. I said, hey, let's link up, man. He ignored me, bro. He ignored me. I never got an answer back from him. Never even opened the message. He's a busy dude, man. So then it was maybe 3 months later, man. I took a second job to get a part job, make some extra money at that same Dunkin'. And we connected in the Dunkin' working. I showed him some of my music, and it's been history ever since then, man. We've been grinding. So it's just ironic that, it didn't pop off at first, and the connection didn't happen, and then it happened later just by chance. So.
I left him on red.
Left me on red.
It's still on red. I still haven't read it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
2 years later.
Yeah, he's a busy dude. You don't open a lot of messages now. So.
I still get to open them when I can, but that's a.
I'm sorry.
That's his girl calling.
That's my girl.
That's funny.
What are you doing?
Yeah, she knew. But it's funny because I started making beats in 2020 when the pandemic happened, and I was working at my main job, which is a battery factory. Can you open the door?
Okay, thank you. Sorry, she's outside with the kids. So.
Okay, good, perfect.
Yeah, sorry.
I was working at battery factory, so I met a dude who made beats, and then he taught me how to make beats, and that's how I got into production. I built a home studio, bought a bunch of expensive equipment, took a loan out because I'm like, this is what I want to do with my life.
I love that.
And I was just craving to get out of that.
Taking a risk.
Monotonous, like daily, like just doing the same thing over and over. And I always did acting growing up. So I knew like entertainment would be a part of my life. I didn't know it would be music. It was just the outlet at the time that I could express myself. So I learned how to make beats. And then when the time was right, that's when Alan hit me up, and it just happened from there. And then from there, he taught me vocals. So I wasn't really like into engineering or mixing my own vocals at the time. It was just strictly beats. So he gave me all that vocal knowledge and really just how to express myself and get loud on the mic and open up, and
don't be afraid. Don't let back, man.
Yeah, so he's really the vocal inspiration, and that's how Pointless and all these other songs that I'm making now even came to life. It was really from Alan teaching me how to do vocals and mix them and engineer them. So,
But that's a
and I had
really,
to learn,
that's a
yeah,
really
and
good
I had
way
to
to
learn a
be.
whole other program. So I had to learn a whole nother software, which was Studio One.
We used Studio One. That was what I, mastered pretty much.
And I was making
he had
beats
to jump
on
over
FL.
that. So, jumping out of something he knew into something new, and Kev picked it up so fast, man. And I'll tell you, I've tried to, there's been a lot of people involved with this, especially lately. And I've tried to teach people and stuff. Sometimes you can't teach people. Kev, has been more than willing to learn, man, in the process. I've learned a ton too, man, for sure. So. Just but about life, too, man. He's my best friend, too. We ain't just like partners, and he's my best friend, bro. So.
And that's a... do you know what? I love this story because the whole reason I kind of wanted to go with this podcast was to have like the philosophy, the ethos behind it is about risk takers. Like, because I think that they're the most fascinating people in the room to me. It's never anyone else. It's the guys that take the biggest risk. And like he's one of my best friends now. But before I knew him, I remember I was in a bar one night and one of my other friends was saying, "Oh, you need to meet Keith. You need to meet Keith." And I was like, "Oh, fuck, I don't want to meet Keith. Like, he's from a different town. Like, they're enemies, And they're like, no, Keith's dead sound. And then someone told me a story where he like jumped on a plane and landed in New York with like $2 in his pocket. Just was able to make his way. But that's the sort of character Keith is, that risk taker. And man, I've always been drawn to them sort of people. So when I hear that, Kevin, that it's like, I'm going to take this risk. And man, did you have any experience, Kevin? Like, had you any knowledge going into this about, okay, here's how you make a beat. Here's what you have to do. This is the process.
Going into when I first started making beats, no, I didn't. I had no idea. I just bought FL Studio. I spent, like I said, I bought a bunch of equipment and I really didn't have any knowledge what I was getting into. And I really told myself, like, I'm going to take this $23,000 loan and spend it all on myself.
Yeah,
and I didn't go to college. So that was like my reasoning behind it. It's like, okay, well, if everyone could spend $100,000 at college or university, why can't I just spend $20,000 on myself? And it really comes down to taking that risk. And like, I was sitting at work, like, I'm really about to jump off this cliff and put myself into debt, and I'm going to have to work to pay it off. But like, I'm going to learn something at the end of it. So that's what you just got to jump off the cliff.
That's the thing, man. So many people are scared to invest in themselves, man, and do anything, even like a small investment, for that dream. And like doing that it does take balls, 100%. I mean, I bought all this around me too, and I have a whole studio too. I know what it's like too, but I've never in my life been afraid to take risks. So it's never been foreign to me, man. I've had a pretty crazy life.
Well, you be in the Army.
Yeah, I was in the Army. I have a really bad history. I've been clean now for some years, but I was addicted to drugs for many years, opioids and benzos in particular. A lot of stuff happened in my life and came from drug use, and I wouldn't be here now if I weren't, living a better life. So I'm thankful for that. But I've never been scared, really. I'm not scared. And at this point in my life, man, I am a little bit older, but I found something inside me that now at 34, I'm like, why not just fucking do it? It's like, why hold back,
I really feel you on that, because I was the same. I dropped out of school at 15. I pissed around. I moved to Canada. I was working 6 jobs over there. Remember, I was working so many jobs. I was so tired. I was looking up at all the skyscrapers, and I was like, I just want to work I want to work in an office. I want to be in a big building. And but then I got to that, and then I was like, oh shit! Actually, what I want to do is create something. And it was only I was around your age, Kev. I was around 25, man, when I jumped into the writing, and then again just jumped into the podcast, and then as well. But you have to, and that's why I love that, Kev. You have to take them risks, but. To go back, because I think there's probably a bit more of an interesting topic there. Like, you're in the service, so you got out of the service, and then that's a mad transition going from I'm a service in the service, and then boom, I'm going into doing rap. How does that come about, man?
I was I joined when I was 17. I dropped out of high school when I was 17. I was in the 11th grade. I was never I just had a very troubled life growing up. And that's a whole other story itself. But I just never was interested in school. And it's not that I'm stupid. I just didn't
Yeah.
want to apply myself, you know. So I dropped out, and then I was working some dead end job as like a dishwasher or something at 17. My dad was hassling me about rent. My dad had been in the army for 13 years. So I just saw it as a way to be out. Like at the time too, in 2007, we really needed people in the military in general. They gave me like $30,000 just for joining. I went infantry. My job was, I went to Afghanistan. My job was kicking down doors and looking for Taliban and Al Qaeda up in the mountains on the Pakistan border. And I was over there for 13 months. I lived in Germany for the whole time I was stationed in Germany, Vilseck, Germany, which is like 45 minutes from Nuremberg. And I had a great time. It was some of the best years of my life. I got out in 2011, 4 years later. And by then, man, I had a big problem with Xanax. Like after I got back, they prescribed them to me, and I had a big problem with them already. I got out, I started drinking a lot, and my whole life just went downhill. Had my first kid, my daughter, she's 11. And then I went to jail for about 6 years straight. And I've always loved music. I'll say this. I went to prison for 6 years straight, pretty much. There was a little bit of a lapse of a couple months in between, but not much. But I always loved music. I had never really applied myself to anything in my entire life, man, to be honest with you. I was a good soldier when I was in the Army, but like I bounced around job to job my whole adult life. I wandered around aimlessly, man. I did not know anything. I just would not, and I never worked at anything really, you know? Like I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. I always loved music. And the decision to start making music just came, it was 2.5 years ago. I was having some relationship problems one day, and I left my house here, and I went to a friend's house, not Kev, but a different friend. And he was putting on beats and just freestyling. And I had rapped a little bit when I was like 18, joking around. I never took it serious. But that night, I just started rapping and freestyling. And I didn't hold back, man, and I kept going. And I just said, so I bought a bunch of stuff, like similar kind of story to him. Not as much money, not 23,000, but I invested a large chunk of change into like stuff to be able to record, and I taught myself from that point. And I didn't hold back. And that's how I make my music nowadays, is I freestyle it all. Every song you ever heard, I didn't write anything to it. I just dropped it down maybe in like an hour. So I don't write any of my music. I just let it come from the heart, man, you know?
I have so many questions. I actually don't know where to start with the questions, because that was a Moab there just dropped. I don't even know where to start, but I'm gonna go into it. Like, man, were you rapping? Like, were you freestyling in your head? Like, were you freestyling in your head, or like, you know, you're at your friend's house and next minute, boom, this like epiphany thing of I'm gonna do it. What like, were you in your head, like doing these freestyles?
When I did a couple songs at first. When I first started doing it, I did a couple songs on my phone with like a cheap USB mic, and I had no voice yet. Like most people that are making music, I had no like particular sound. I was just kind of fucking around.
He kind of sounded like Drake. Like he had punchlines, like a lot of punchline rap.
It was more like punchline rap and stuff. Yeah. I wasn't really singing how I am now, and because I'm singing in my heart, I'm more of a singer than a rapper. But I am rap. I do rap a lot too. But I bought this cheap mic, right in the phone, recorded a couple songs. And then I was like, well, this doesn't sound as good as the way I want it to sound. You know, it doesn't, like, it seemed half-assed. Like, so I had some money at the time. And I was like, you know what the fuck am I doing? All I'm doing is working every day. Like, I don't have any hobbies. You know, I don't have anything. I had, like, nothing going on. So I said, why not? So I bought a bunch of stuff, downloaded Studio One, and taught myself. And now I'd like to say that, you know, the point I'm at is pretty experienced, and I'm proud of where we've gotten, man, through this. So I didn't know how to jam-pack a million things on my whole life into a short thing, so my fault, man.
That is going to be, I'm just thinking that's a short clip right there. It's like a whole story in one, man. But that is insane. Like, and I don't know, I fucking loved, like, it's stories like this, man, that just get me up in the morning, like, because I think there's so many similarities as well. Like, it's that I remember being a dishwasher. I remember all these things. And man, when you don't feel unfulfilled and you feel there's something greater out there, it's like the tide. It's just pulling at your ankles, man. Wanting to drag you out somewhere where it's going to be scary and it's going to be deep. And
man,
but
life is not about grinding for 12 9-hour shifts, man, and paying taxes and just dying of old age, man. And that's, so many people get trapped into that, sucked into that, because they don't believe in themselves and find themselves, man, you know. And that's kind of what we push, man, is people finding themselves. Like, We're all about helping people grow as artists, like everything. Like people get stuck in life, man. Before you know it, you're 34, you're 64, whatever, and you ain't doing anything you want to do in your life, man.
And can you
And
imagine the regret?
allowing yourself to
Imagine the
feel
regret?
Oh man, absolutely. I don't want to be that old man. I don't want to be that old man at that age. Like, you know, why didn't I do something? You know, I want to live, so that's what we're doing, man.
That's a good motto. I've always like thought that, like, when I'm dying, like, am I gonna be sitting there like, oh, I wish I did this, or I wish I did that? Like,
I think no matter what you're going to, but I want to be okay with the life I live and not be like, well, I wish I could redo it. I think at the end, if you're content, that's important. So I really want that, you know. And whatever I want to live how I want to live. Like, I want to create. The ability to create, you know, you're a creator, man. Like, when you're creating, there's nothing more fulfilling, really, you know.
Exactly.
It's the best. So.
Nothing more. Like, I think it's just such a like, and the thing is, I like my day job is in like ad sales and stuff. It's extremely analytical, but when you get to be when you put on that creative hat, it's a different experience. It's a different experience, and there's nothing that can fulfill that. I don't think anyway. And it's not even a money thing. It's just it's a purpose thing.
It's just filling that void, you know, like that missing. Like there's something missing. You gotta do something. Let it out somehow. So that's why we create. You know? When you're not creating a creative heart, you're not gonna be feeling too good.
Exactly. And so, Kev, with the beats, then, like, you mentioned something there a minute ago. FL Studio, is it?
Yeah, that's when I started making beats. FL
and
Studio.
What is that? Like, so, okay, just for maybe listeners that aren't aware, what is it like?
It's a digital audio workstation. It's a digital audio workstation, so they call it a DAW. And there's a couple other DAWs besides FL. You got Ableton. Pro Tools is most known in the industry.
Studio One is one.
Studio One's what we do vocals on. So it's just a digital audio workstation. It has everything you need from.
It's pretty popular too.
Yeah,
a lot of people use it.
It's how you load in your auto tunes. It's how you load in everything you need from compressors, and it's the station.
Connect all your instruments, your keyboard, and play it through there.
It's how you make music, and it's a little different because like Alan has some interfaces that are used for gaming, and they don't have monitor inputs.
Yeah.
So like,
there's a lot of gear in this room.
People who are coming from like maybe just a gaming background, you do need a little bit different equipment to start making music, but
similar, but not
100% the same. It takes some equipment and a microphone, and then you're almost set. You can get a keyboard, or I have a nice keyboard, 88 keys for like playing out the beats and stuff, but.
Yeah, and then I got this little keyboard right here, which is got a drum pad on it. You can make beats right through. That's connected to the main iMac right there.
So if you're interested in music, you're gonna need a DAW, a digital audio workstation. I use FL Studio to make the beats. I find it's pretty convenient and easy to learn from a beginner standpoint, and has a lot of stuff.
Where do you start then? Like, so let's talk World's Gonna End. Where do you even, like, again, because I have no clue on this. Like, I can understand maybe how to write and stuff like that, but the beat making is so alien to me. How in the name of God do you start? Like, where do you start?
The foundation. I mean, you're gonna need to pick your key and pick your BPM.
You start on bass.
A lot of people start with drums, or you can start with. Once you pick your key, you're going to find a chord progression. So I usually do 4 bars. It's a 4-bar chord progression. And
4 bars would be like 4 lines.
That's the most common chord progression. So 4 bars. And then from there, you pick your key and you lay out your notes. And then that's it. I'll pick one instrument, lay out the notes, and then I pick the next instrument. And it's kind of like a puzzle. You build off of your foundation.
Right.
So once you find the first instrument and the first chord progression, you're set, and then you just go from there.
It's kind of like layers, you know. You have your bass way down here, and then you'll add these other pieces throughout that'll all stack up to make a beat.
And by the end, there could be 15 different pieces that make this entire.
And it's similar with the vocals, man. It's very similar because like you start out with your main vocals, which are your center main, you know. Then you have all these backgrounds that are kind of layered upon. So
building a beat is like building vocals, and when you put it all together, it really is like 50 layers.
Yeah, it's a lot.
60 layers of instruments and vocals to make a whole song. So it's a lot. It's a lot of layers of puzzle pieces that make a whole picture. So.
Right.
How are you conceptualizing it then? Because like, when you're talking to me like that, I'm visualizing this like thing. But is it a visual thing? Is it an audio thing? Is it a tactile nerdy thing? How are you conceptualizing?
To me, it's like a math problem.
Well, here's the
when
thing.
I'm putting it together, it's like a math problem.
When you record vocals in, kind of like at the bottom of the screen, it says the mic. It shows the mic signal going through. Like
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Right, that's what you would see in your DAW then. So like you'd have a layer where that would be your vocals through there, you know, and then that's like where you're stuff. So
you just keep adding on. Like, okay, I need to add this here, or I need to take that out, or cut this frequency.
Yeah, I mean, too much is sometimes is not good either.
Like you said, it's very analytical. It's very tedious work. It's not for the faint heart. It's not easy to do.
And I'll tell you, Gary, I don't know anything about making beats. I'm strictly vocals, so that's just foreign to me. I've tried before just pulling it up, messing around, and it's like, what the hell? I don't even know what I'm doing at all. So.
It's like learning math. You learn as you go, and you need. In a way, I had a mentor teaching me the ropes at the time who worked with me at my job. So I would talk to him every day and just ask him questions like, what do I do with the bass? What do I do with this? How do I make it sound clear? How do I take out the mud frequencies? So
gave you a bunch.
And this is all just audio terminology for making beats. So if viewers, don't really understand the concept.
It's hard to explain without, people didn't know. But
yeah, I mean, it's simple ways. It's just an equation, and you're the person trying to solve that equation.
That's when I look at a song like a puzzle, a bunch of pieces that just go together, like to make that final mixed and mastered song. That's all.
And here's a really stupid question. So, because so I can dig at the beats in the layers and stuff like that, but I know you said the audio there. Is it not just a consistent line like we're kind of seeing on the screen, or is it you're layering audio as well, or vocals? Sorry, not audio, vocals as well.
You have your instruments, which will be like your piano. So you'll see your piano keys, you'll see your drum, like they're, pretty much, you can either paint them in or play them in with an instrument like a keyboard.
On a digital audio workstation too, it doesn't always show up as audio that you see, the audio that you actually see on the podcast right here. It shows up in MIDI format.
Yeah.
So you're actually seeing the notes, like, oh, this note is on the C, this one's on the D, this one's on the G.
MIDI's kind of old school too. MIDI is kind of classic, like we still have, most interfaces will come with MIDI still because you can still plug in a MIDI instrument. Like older keyboards have MIDI. Nowadays they use USB because you can transmit MIDI over USB as well.
Yeah. So I see lines of, not audio, but lines of MIDI. And those are all stacked on top of each other. So it's similar. And then you convert that MIDI to audio. And then it would look like an audio wave file that you would see on your screen. But when I'm looking at it visually, that's why I say it's like a math equation, because I'm just seeing all the steps, all the notes stacked on top of each other. And then with vocals, that's when you get the audio stacked on top of each other.
Right.
So it's a lot to make music.
I love the way it's like a math equation.
It's like,
it's hard to explain, because I guess if your brain doesn't kind of grasp it and like know a little bit, like it's hard. It can be a lot for people that wouldn't know what they're doing. Like you open up a DAW and you'd be like, what is everything? But I don't know. Like I watched a lot of YouTube video tutorials in the beginning and stuff, and a lot of videos on Studio One, which is what I use. Very similar to FL. You can make beats in Studio One, but I just started with nothing. I didn't know anything, and then I just messed around, man. Learned as I went,
And that's the thing. Like you just have to.
You just have to have an open mind and just be willing to, like, as far as music, like turn buttons, turn knobs and hit buttons until stuff sounds like it's all your ear too. You're just trusting your ear. When I'm making a song, I'd like to think I kind of know what a good song's supposed to sound like at the end. Mm-hmm. So when I'm mixing, like, I want it to be clean vocals, like clean bass, everything. So everything's not, we call it muddy. When you don't mix the instruments together and the vocals good together, they can sound muddy.
It sounds like a mush.
Sounds like a mush of not good layering,
Mm-hmm. It's like with art as well, when they overwork it and it turns muddy. But I suppose I said, like, the ethos for the podcast is kind of, having them risk takers, that's what fascinates me. What's the ethos then for the music? Like, so I feel when I'm listening to a lot of the songs, I feel there's nearly a level of pain coming out. Like, is that, or what is the ethos? What's the undercurrent there driving that musical inspiration?
Man, it's like pain, definitely pain. I think anybody could hear the pain in my voice, and hope, man, because like I told you that story earlier about my life, man. Like my life is not like that nowadays. Like I'm not in my addiction deep. I'm not living this shitty life. Like I'm proud of who I am and what I'm doing. So I think the main message that we're trying to drive to people is hope. Like, anything's possible, man. I didn't know I could even sing or rap or anything until I was 32.
I love it.
Hope, man. Like, anybody can do anything, you know?
But also, while immersing you in like this world of darkness that we've already gone through.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell people about it for sure, man. Like, you know.
So we show you the darkness, but we also want to give you hope that there's also light and there's a balance.
For sure.
And that's a beautiful message. It's not only a beautiful message, it's so fucking real. Because like the most interesting people are the people that have been through shit as well. Like I always find that. It's like, you know, if you the best stories I ever hear, the most interesting people have always been through something. There's struggle or there's adversity built into their story somewhere along the way.
I agree, man. I agree 100%.
When that can translate into some artistic pursuit or creative pursuit, you get a flavor of magic, just, you know, spontaneously just popping up, and that's that I love that. And Alan, like, I don't know if you want to go into it, but with the addiction, so you know, I think you said you're clean now. What's your reflection on that? And look, I completely understand that people that don't want to go into certain areas on the podcast, but what's the reflection like when you're looking back now? What's your view?
I mean, I'm not really scared to talk about anything at all. I let it all out in the music anyway. I don't know, like, I'm really grateful to music because I have this outlet now, this creative outlet. All the stuff that I used to try to mask with drugs and, hide with drugs, how I felt inside, I sing about it now. So music had a big, I mean, I was already clean, but like music pointed me in the right direction when I found it. So like, I don't know, maybe I would end up relapsing eventually and going back to it if I hadn't found music, you know, because I just was missing purpose still. Like, I got rid of the drugs, took them out of the equation because I just decided it was time to grow up, basically, man. Like, I have kids, and I think you're either one of those people where you either grow up or you don't, you know. But music came into my life at that time, and because of that, I feel pain nowadays, man. Like, still feel sad, still see all this shitty stuff going on in the world that I don't agree with, you know, that I have my opinions on, whatever. But I just sing about it now. So I have that outlet. Like, and that's what it takes for people sometimes, whether not be singing and be something else, but to be able to let all that out in some productive, healthy way is important, man. You know?
Yeah. And what was, I suppose, so it was benzos, it was benzos.
I was popping perks 30s, but like in the big era of that, like 2011, 12, 13, like when Oxy 80s were still around, you know. We didn't have all the fentanyl back then. That was like when I was really going through it.
That's
heroin.
a concern nowadays.
Yeah. So I've never even used drugs in this fentanyl era, which I watch and see, and I have plenty of people that have been affected by fentanyl, like everybody, but it's terrible.
Yeah, thank God that fentanyl seems like I had a Marine on the podcast there. I think about that on Thursday, but we just did a bonus episode last night as well. And
Awesome.
yeah, like he was just saying, like, we were talking about that fentanyl and stuff, man. It is scary. I remember I was over in San Francisco it was 2020, just before the pandemic. And I've seen homeless people. I lived in Toronto for 2 years. You know, I've been through Dublin. I've seen homeless people, but I have never seen I don't know how to describe these people. I remember we were coming back from our hotel one night. I was over on a work trip, right? And I literally just see this woman coming running naked at me. And I thought she had clothes on her, but she didn't. Her skin was just so black with like dirt. And I was so aggressive, like begging for money. I was just like, what the hell? And we're like, oh, this is the start of the fentanyl. The people
it's almost like a zombie or
that's what I was going to say.
It is like a zombie.
Like, it's kind of zombie. Yeah. That's what's the best way to describe it. I don't know. But yeah, I live in it, like where we're at right now, and this is my house. I live in a very rough area. I live in Reading, Pennsylvania, which is like kind of a mini city. It's not a big city like Philly, but mini city. A lot of fentanyl right down my street, like every day. Just, you know, people walking around exactly like you're describing, man. I have a car.
What's causing it? Alan, from your view, you know, and you've battled opiates. What's causing the fentanyl? Is it just pain? Is it just people wanting to break away?
I think the whole world's in pain right now, man. Every day, the world. I watch all this stuff. It just builds and builds and builds towards, you know, what I'm thinking someday is going to be a climax of some sorts. But more people are looking for a way out, And now fentanyl comes in. You know, it used to be heroin before fentanyl. And then like fentanyl comes in, and it's just so much cheaper and so much stronger. And people like the shit that's killing people. Other people go out looking for that shit because they want that because they know it'll fuck them up and get them high. Like it's sad, man. I see people slumped over on the street, like laying there, like unmoving, man. Like you don't know if they're dead or alive. Ambulances up and down here all the time getting people ODing. It's sad.
And then I think it comes down to the chase of not wanting to be here in a sense.
Like not wanting to be in reality.
You're dissociating from reality, and the ending of that is death. So if you're, that's what you're looking for in a sense.
And that's it, Kev. So there's escapism, which I think everyone, like every human being is, wants an escape. There's escapism, but I think there's like almost a suicidal, nearly fucking impulse driving someone into the more extreme elements of stuff.
Because you're wanting to get so high that you don't want to be here.
So. Yeah, you just don't care anymore. I've been there where I just didn't care. Like I'd be popping up, I don't care if I wake up. I could take one too many, but maybe that's better thing, When people get to that point in their lives, man, like
it's hard.
It is hard as fuck to come back. There were some factors in my life that helped me get clean. Like I went to prison, and I had to grow up, kind of. And then I got out, and I had shit I had to do. So like stuff forced me, but like I can see how you just get stuck in that and be sad, especially if you don't. We were talking earlier, but you don't have any outlet, man. No other way to let all that pain out. So then you're.
Or a friend to lean on, or
and then you get deep into it, and your family maybe disowns you, and you lost all your friends, and you lost all your belongings, and you're starting with nothing. And been there too, man. So
and drugs like that are a lousy substitute for a friend. Like it's like they will just lead you by the hand into a dark path, and they're not going to talk you out of it because that little voice in your head is going to be perking and chirping, and that's not going to pull you back from the edge.
It don't ever go away either. Like I'm a little bit older now, I'm clean, but like you got to have something there to hold you okay even after you get clean too. Like you could put it down, but then stay in that way for a while. Like some people go do AA, NA, whatever you believe in. Higher powers great too. Some people I think can just make a decision and be like, I grow up. That's a good, good thing too. But I don't know. I think you need something to put in there. For me, it was music. Something everybody needs to fill that void somehow, though. Because it starts with not being okay with who you are inside. Nobody just keeps taking drugs. Like you don't care about yourself. That's what it comes down to deep down. You don't care about yourself. So learning how to care about yourself and love yourself, that's very difficult for people, I think.
Yeah, and I don't think it's getting easier. I think that's the problem. And I think a lot of we use social media for a lot of like promotion and stuff like that, but I think the net effect of social media is such a detriment. And I don't know if it's just that. I think there's obviously a multitude of factors but everything just seems to be more of a vacuous, less meaningful, back to your song, more pointless. It just seems
to getting shorter, the attention spans, and that's how I create. Like we are creators from a social media perspective. So all my videos are very fast. The clips are fast. It keeps you interested because even me, I find the problem where like I can't get bored while I'm watching it.
Right.
If I see that I'm getting bored, then someone else is going to get bored. So my clips are, very social media, 15, 10 seconds, 30 seconds. We do some longer ones, and that's where the music video comes in. And that's where like we promote that with 10-second clips. So
everything from making the music to making the videos is all about efficiency and speed, and even the outcome is trying to be as fast as possible.
Attention spans
we're dealing with this attention span of this generation that is like
super short.
I mean, you are like, even the young kids like right now, it's terrible. So we got to be, and it's also important to kind of adapt as artists and learn new strategies on social media wise, man, because we got to be able to reach some of those kids and kids in pain too. There's younger people in pain too, man. So.
Yeah,
everybody
definitely. And I think with the, you said about like, because your videos are really kinetic. There's a lot going on really quickly. And I think it's a really good strategy as well, because what ends up, like our brains are hardwired for movement. Like, so if you, if you look at our track our evolution there through, when we were on the Serengeti, say, kind of first man and stuff like that, we're on the Serengeti, you have to be so perceptive to movement because
Exactly.
movement is going to be the key between life and death. Because if you're not able to perceive something moving really fast, it's going to probably eat you, most likely. And I always found, man, with all the best videos I kind of had, because I used to go through on the Dark Finds page, I always used to think that the best videos, I was in this kind of false perception that the best videos were going to be the thing that the person that says the most outrageous thing. So I'll be looking for the serial killer, the psychopath that says something like really crazy. And I remember I put up this video one time. It was like this that German cannibal. So he'd like eaten a person, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Andres. I'm an engineer, and I eat people." Or so it was something to that tune, anyway. And the video did not, and I was like, "What's going on here? Like this should have blown up. It was such a good lead in, all that." And then next one, you get Manson stepping up, and he's like in another video where he's like, hey now," and the video blows up. And what I realized is it's the movement in the video that that literally dictates your engagement rate so much higher than what's said in the video. And it was just a fascinating insight for me. But then you get captured, like every video I need to have people moving.
Yep.
A lot of people listen to, or a lot of people watch shorts videos, like on YouTube shorts or on YouTube, and then Instagram reels. They watch them with the sound off sometimes too. So the captions are important, having them, like able to read. People like might not be hearing, might be in a place they can't listen to it at the moment.
Or the movement, like you said.
Absolutely seeing it instead of even hearing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But there's another Philadelphia rapper. Which again, he's a big follower of the page, and I absolutely adore his music. He said he's coming on after his next EP, but Vinny Paz. Man, like, do you know what? There's such correlations, because when I listen to Vinny Paz's music, man, he's like oh my god, it's the pain you get from it as well. But it's what my gym song for so long was "End of Days." And it was like, I just have it on every time I'm doing a session. I'd have on "End of Days." Well, man, like, has Philly a good kind of good music scene, a good like
City brotherly love? Absolutely. I think a lot of good rappers that came out of Philly, and I mean, there's a lot of rappers I listened to growing up from Philly that are really not around anymore. Like Philly was big for like the punchline, kind of like freestyle era. That was big here. Cassidy, Cicero, all them were big in like the early 2000s.
You got the new age, like
Meek Mill came out of Philly. Yeah, Lil Uzi's from Philly.
Meek Mill, yeah,
he's from Philly. Yeah. I was locked up in the same prison in PA as Meek Mill. When he flew out in the helicopter when he got released and went to the Sixers game, it was like a big thing on the news. I was in that prison right there. So yeah, it's pretty. He's a tall looking dude.
He flew out of the prison. He
flew out of the helicopter, landed outside. Yeah, I think it was Joel Embiid picked him up for the game in the helicopter. Joel Embiid's one of the players on the Philadelphia 76ers, the NBA team.
That's crazy that you were there for that.
Yeah, I was inside the prison.
Yeah,
I wasn't out there for the helicopter for it. I was probably at my window, like trying.
You're like, what's that noise?
Let me out for that.
But then you got the Pittsburgh area, Wiz Khalifa, Mac Miller, newer age, like rap.
Pennsylvania has a couple big cities, and then of course you have all these, other guys in these other towns like us. We're in like the outskirts. We're not in Philly. We're like an hour from Philly.
We grew up going to Philly. We've been around Philly enough to associate with.
We have a couple of videos shot in Philly. Our music video, what's the
Give a Fuck.
Yeah, our song Give a Fuck.
Give a Fuck music video.
That was in Philly. That was shot in Center City. It was pretty good, man.
And that was when I first started making the videos, getting better at editing.
Yeah, it's old at this point, but still a good video.
You can see our progression through our videos so far, and the 2 years from start to now, and it just keeps getting better. So
that's what scares me. It's only 2 years, and you look at the quality step change, and the thing is, there's a reason why World Gonna End is has so many views and all. Number one, it's the instrumental in it, or the kind of beat side. It's the lyrics, and then the video. It's it's like you boys probably get it. It keeps step changing, and I'm so excited to see what's coming for you.
Oh man, I'm dropping an EP soon. I've been working on an EP, so it'll be like 6-7 songs, and it's gonna be awesome. The thing about World's Gonna End is that was different for me. It's very real and raw, and it's just about the world today. Everybody hates each other. there's no love anymore, no real love, like stuff we were talking about earlier. And I had no problem making it because it's just honest and real about from my point of view. You know, some people might not feel the same way about certain stuff. Whatever, that's my point of view. And in my head, I'm right. So,
and the fact that we went to Washington D.C., the capital,
man. Couldn't have gone to a better place to shoot the video.
White House. You know,
we were right next to the Secret Service while we were recording. Yeah, we got to see. We do these trips when we shoot a video. We all go out, the whole team, and we just make a day of it while we're there and stuff. It was great, man. So
we got the kids in this one. We got everyone in our crew basically in this video.
Absolutely, and we've been working right now. I've been working my ass off, and I'll have a whole EP coming out. I would say June 15th is the projected date right now. We have a lot of live performances this year. We'll be one a month at least, all through Reading, and we're gonna go to some other places.
Car show.
We have a nice car show on June 15th, man. Exotic cars, models, ran by Jose Garcia Promotions,
Nandi's World.
There's
a couple of different sponsors.
Yes.
That'll be in the Philadelphia area. They'll bring up Philly again.
Yeah. So we're gonna
are you at a dance festival? Are you I seen? I think it was on your story today, Kev. Or no, sorry, it was on. It wasn't. It was on a reel you had, but it was like when I clicked into the reel, it's like kind of techno trance. But then your names were at the. It was like a mini festival, was it?
Yeah. Well, we make the videos look like. It was at a clothing brand location for performing.
We performed in Cabaret Hot Clothing. They have a huge warehouse factory. Like we perform in there regularly, and
they hold a lot of events there. So I made it look like
it looked better, a little bit bigger than probably. That's the key, though.
That's
man.
the editing.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was a performance that we had. So we were on stage, and the lighting was good, and it was a good turnout for audience. So
yeah, absolutely.
It comes down to the edit too. Like how well can you make anything look, any situation,
catching people's eyes, you know. Yeah. You gotta catch that attention.
And how does it feel like at this stage in the journey now? Is it like it must be fulfilling now? It must be like, because you jump in here, it's like, man, no one knows what's going to happen. You jump in head first into something that you haven't done. The risk is there and all that, but it must feel like, hey, whoa, we're onto something here. This feels good.
100%, man. Like I don't know about Kevin, but I said all the time, no regrets, man. Like we're just, what else was I gonna do, man? You know, like
and every new song just fuels the fire. We just get one step closer.
That's what drives me too, is like the progression, like he was talking about. It's just vocally, like you're talking about World's Gonna End. That was already recorded. That song was probably recorded 9 months ago. So I'm working on like whole new level stuff, man. That's gonna be coming out soon. So like. Every song, the voice dramatically gets better. I've been trying new stuff, everything from rap to... I just did a Sam Tompkins. I don't know if you know Sam Tompkins. He's a singer out of the UK. He has a song called Time Will Fly. Amazing song, man. I just did a cover, and I have it fully recorded, so I'm going to be working on dropping that. It's just a cover song, you know. Drop it on YouTube and SoundCloud for free for people to listen to.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Absolutely, man.
Alan, any sneak peek on the theme of the EP? Is like what's the songs? What's the theme of the songs?
It's rap, man. It's a lot of rap. Some singing. It's mostly positive. Limited explicit language on this one. Sorry, there's a car driving, a pretty fast car driving outside.
That sounded like a motorbike.
Yeah. Oh, it's on, man. I went a different direction with this. My life has been very positive lately. I've not been feeling as sad. So I'm spiritually feeling a little bit, connected with a God of my understanding more and stuff. So I am rapping. I would say it's comparable to like some mainstream rap album, but then like
not explicit.
It's not explicit and the lyrics are good. They're positive. So
world's going to be okay, Al.
Yeah, man. I'm not on the demonic. We're not doing no demon, demon time on this one. We're not going dark. It's going to be how I'm doing good and what life can give you when you're trying, you know.
But the bars are hard. But it's coming in with some hard bars.
Yeah, the songs are good, man. I'm excited. I'm most excited about this than I've ever been in a while.
I think you'll be able to work out to a few.
For sure. They go hard, man. It's like good vibes.
And Kev, are you doing the beats on it?
No beats on this one.
He didn't do any beats on this one, but he will be doing all the video work.
I bought all the beats
pretty much off YouTube. Like if Kev doesn't produce, I pull up beats all day in here. You know, I'm home, so I'll just fly through beats, burn through like a bunch till I find one I connect with. I told you I make songs in the moment. I don't write anything, so I'll record it right here on this mic right here, and then you know, if I'm gonna end up dropping the song later, I'll go back buy the beat. And sometimes, because I might go back and buy it later, I've been, you know, kind of fucked over. I couldn't buy the beat. Somebody else bought it, so that song doesn't get dropped. Or we only drop it on YouTube. But this one, I bought all the beats. They're ready to go. So we're
so we got the leases. So everything's legit. And
so that way, when you make money off of like when you release money on Spotify, Apple Music, the bigger platforms, if you didn't make the beat, and then you need to have a lease for the beat, and that way, you know, you get allowed so many streams to make a profit off. Say you pay $50 for one of the leases, you can make 10,000 streams off it or 20,000 streams, and then past that point, you'd have to buy the beat outright. You know, so there's levels to this with the beat leases and stuff like that too. But Kevin hasn't produced 100% of my songs. I'd say he produced about 50%.
Okay.
But that's where we make up with. I do most of the visuals then too, all the directing and the.
So the EP coming, we're gonna be. I mean, we got some new technology, some new cameras, all this stuff. We're gonna be doing some crazy stuff to the EP, and we're gonna push the EP hard this summer. We'll be in everybody's face.
Like, do you love the live gigs then? Like, what's that like? Is that insane?
There's nothing comparable to being on stage.
That's what doing it's all about, man. Like, I can have fun recording a song right here. This is great. You know, I'm in the studio. It's great. But being in front of those people and being on stage and getting that adrenaline rush, man, Gary, it's been better than any drug I've ever done, man. Like, ever. So
it's like a book signing, you know? Like, having all those people come out and sign, like, meet and greet. Like, it's like they're coming out to meet and greet your music, and you're there to share with them, and it's really a blessing to see people resonate with that.
And we've been blessed to connect and meet with these guys locally too that are, you know, pushing the same kind of thing, and we've connected, and we're building something here in Reading. Summer Never Dies, Jose Garcia Productions and Nandy World, man, they're artists around here and guys around here that are working hard. So all the shows and everything, they're like that background that are like, you know, setting things up and managing things. So.
Event organization. Yeah. And we've been able to, you know, become good friends with them and
for sure
earn our way into being a part of their events and
working hard, man.
So
it's only happened though because we're grinding our ass off and we just, you know,
that's
going, man. Putting yourself out there, taking the risk. Like same thing. Like they heard our music. Hey, would you guys like to perform? It started with that, and now we're just doing our thing. You know, so no regrets, man.
That's it. And you know what it is? It's again, I always throw stuff back to cliche movies, but it's like I think it's Rocky IV, where he's fighting. I hope it's Rocky IV. It's either Rocky III or Rocky IV, where he's fighting Dolph Lundgren, and Stallone. Rocky is just he's there in the shit gym. He's like a kind of fucking calisthenics gym, and he's just there in a shed, but he's outworking the Dolph Lundgren, the Russian. He's outworking him, and your man's taking steroids and all. But man, if you can outwork people, I remember when I was working at one time, I was living in Sydney in Australia, right? And one of my clients I used to work in a personal training gym, but one of my clients was he used to be friends with Gareth Southgate, which was like an English soccer player. And he told me a story that like Gareth Southgate he got signed by one of the big Premiership teams, but he was by far the least talented guy on the whole cohort that went for the trials. And he was like, but the only way he got it because he outworked every one of them. And I think there's something to be said, man, because when you don't get stuff handed to you, you know, you either have to be extremely talented, and that's like 0.1% of the population. But what you can do, your only advantage is be prepared to outwork everyone. And if you come from that philosophy, man, you'll just succeed. Like it's a timing thing. It's just when it will hit. Like when I see your videos, when I see the production that goes into it, I can't believe, Al, that you're freestyling that. I can't believe that it's just coming on, but that is so amazing. And that, man, the talent is there. And
thank you.
Similarly there, Kev, you know, putting them videos together, man, that's, you have a bright future, I think, anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And bright futures normally come from dark past, which is again, which interests me as well. The darker the past, sometimes the brighter the future.
Out of
So,
darkness comes light, man. Yeah, for sure. It doesn't always happen, but when it happens, it can be a beautiful thing, you know?
That's an interesting point. We're going to bring it up. It's because the CIA said a certain amount of trauma actually makes for a way like better outcome in terms of like succeeding in life.
Well, it affects your mind. It makes sense, man.
The right amount of trauma.
Yeah. Struggle like that trauma is either gonna collapse you or it'll build you. It's like Kevlar on your skin. So nothing can hurt. Like, man, from a writing background, I remember with some of my books, man, you know, you're getting rejected left, right, and center. And it's like, okay, I either stop this, and it's the same even when I, like, you know, with guests on the podcast as well. You can get rejection. Rejection is everywhere, but it's like how you use it. Like, and sometimes it turns you into an absolute psychopath because, you know, the only way to protect your self-esteem, if you keep getting rejected, is just to turn cold and absolutely ruthless. And sometimes you have to. And sometimes that's what will propel you up the ladder because, you know, that ladder is so tough to climb. I think just being a nice person and just being like, oh, it didn't work out this time, that ain't going to get you anywhere. You have to turn into a psychopath.
I tell Kev all this all the time. That, like, the key to this, especially music, and it's the same thing with launching a podcast and a page. You have to not give a fuck what anybody else thinks. That's what it comes down to. Like, you have to not give a fuck what anybody else thinks and do what you want to do. But that's hard for people. You know, so many people have this little bit of insecurity-ness inside them, where, you know, still holding on, and it's hard. You gotta let go, man. But that's the only way to fully grow. And I mean, reach the point you want to reach. You know. But it's delusion, man. People are going to call you crazy along the way. People are going to try to shut you down. You just got to keep going. I feel like the more hate you're pulling, you know, the more hate that's coming your way, like at a certain point, it's like you're doing something right.
It turns into analytics and it turns into engagement and hate. At the end of it, just really helps your algorithm. Anyways.
Oh, man, Gary, I've had people hear my music and call me a junkie, like, you know, go kill myself, all this stuff, bro. So it happens. I get hate messages, hate comments sometimes. Like, I think anybody making music past a certain point is going to encounter it. It's just like, are you going to let it tear you down, or are you gonna let it just keep driving you? You know.
And that's why I am absolutely obsessed with what Kev said there. It's all engagement. Because that is the absolute God's truth of it. You know, you want the negative comments because they're going to bump you up on the engagement. You know, the algorithm feeds off that engagement. So let them talk, man. And like, I think
we egg them on. We keep them there just long enough, and they just keep going.
Then kill them a little. Still have guys, sometimes people that comment, like, it'll be like 6 months later, they're still coming back to check it out, comments and hate. So, you know, shout out to the haters.
Hey, you're bumping me up in the algorithm. Keep coming with that hate.
Yes, sir.
That's true.
Yeah, and Instagram's eyes, man. You need that engagement there to, you know, really get some numbers. So it's important. But people get in their feelings about it, man. Like, why is the guy saying that? But especially Instagram, Gary. Like, Instagram is especially cruel in the comments and shit. So, like, it's terrible compared to like YouTube and stuff.
The people that comment as well, like, you know, the minute they see you in real life, like, it's such a false. It's such a false way. And like the thing that really worries me is AI is like, because the AI, like the chat GPT and stuff like that, it's all feeding off the, you know, pretty much social interaction across social media, across the internet. It's going to get a very skewed way that, people are that brave in real life. People are not that brave. You know, people shit their pants, like, if you know, if someone puts it up to them. But you know, on a keyboard, they're really big.
Like, fake profile, like, or no profile, but it's usually some fake ass page, like, you know. So obviously somebody that would never. But you know, it's a comment. Instagram's like, it's a comment, then another comment, and I like to send them kiss faces, whatever, man. You know what I mean? They get mad, like, it's just funny, man. It's funny, but if you let it be funny to you, it helps you. If you let it be funny, it helps you. If you let it bother you, like, then it's going to bring you down. It's going to prevent you from going where you want to go.
And that's it. I always find if I get like them hateful comments, you want to keep it going because the more they keep coming them back, the more engagement, the more reach you'll get. So it's like, you know, how can I use this troll as a ladder?
Right.
And
Like, y'all
that's the ultimate revenge.
all our posts are there, man. I mean, for anyone willing to go through them, there's some
pretty
there's some things we've egged on.
Yeah,
So they're there, bro. Comments. Go through the comments. Add a comment.
Sure. Yeah. We're pretty, like, to all the listeners and fans, though. We're always pretty interactive,
transparent
though,
too.
And, you know,
so like,
yeah, our whole lives are on Instagram, pretty much. So we always interact with our fans, and I always pretty much answer messages. Kev's a little slower with messages.
I get around.
He does. You gotta talk with him. You know, it's important. Your fans.
You have to engage.
Yeah, but I love this. I love chatting to you. We're an hour in. Absolutely, honestly, I absolutely really enjoyed chatting to you. Really good guys. You know, I can't wait to see what's next for you. You know, tell everyone where they can find you. I'll link you all in the descriptions on Spotify and on YouTube and all that. But yeah, tell people where they can find you and what's next.
I would say Instagram at theonly.Alank, ALANKAY, and this is my boy at KevinJBeatz with a Z on Instagram, all one word.
Find us on all platforms, Alan K.
Yep.
And then KevinJBeatz.
And if you want to come to the Instagram page, there's buttons on both of our pages for every platform. You can just hit the button and go straight to
Spotify.
Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, SoundCloud, whatever. And you know, we're happy to be doing this, man, and to be affecting people and connecting with people, man. It's great.
Yeah, and believe me, if you go to the music, you will not be disappointed. You know, you'll get lost in the tunes. You know, yeah, I highly recommend. So, fellas, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Love the music, love the direction you're going, love the message. And yeah, just keep doing it, keep grinding. And, you know, hopefully when we have another one, because you'll definitely come on again, hopefully. You know, we'll all be at an elevated level. We'll be all coming from places where we look back and like, gee, can you believe that was 9 months ago or 8 months ago? And now we're this far ahead. So this is what it is. Like-minded people out there grinding. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Chase your dreams, guys. Chase your dreams.
Chase the dreams.
Shout out to Gary from Dark Finds, man. Thank you, bro.
Thank you, Gary.
Dark Finds, yeah. It'll be going out in Dark Finds as well. Thanks a million, fellas. And that's an end.